There we go. Ooh, a little bit of jungle sounds tonight. Oh. Hey, my name's Quinlan. Hey, my name's Quinlan and welcome to Facebook Live, and tonight is Latin night. Oh, because of dear Astrud Gilberto passing away through the week at early 80s and things. So I thought I'd dedicate tonight to her with a little bit of love and a bit of a smile and, all that business, talking about her life. I'm pretty good at tributes now. Brr! So what it is what I've got here with my samples. Whoop. Latin. Oh, beautiful Latin styles. Hey, there we go. So I'm going to talk about Latin music a little bit. I'm going to take my triggers off, take those sounds out for a little bit, and talk about some Latin-y kinds of things, okay? What happens is when you're dealing with Latin music, some of the most beautiful rhythms in the world, they're incredible. But when we're talking about people like Astrud Gilberto and people, I've got a biography there, I'll read it up in a second. She's the queen of the Bossa Nova, okay? And let me talk about some of the different rhythms and the beats and all sorts of things. Now, what goes on is these beats precede the drum kit, okay? There's so much of what happens with Latin music that was happening well before the drum set was even put together as a trap set. 1917 seems to be a year that keeps bobbing up, is when someone said, let's put all these things together. A trap set. And what we have is a lot of different rhythms from different instruments. Probably the first one I'll talk about is the bass, okay, the getting started with Latin rhythms. Now, you can see that I've got one mallet in my hand, and what it is there is, how I pronounce it, is a sordo rhythm. And it's a drum. For any other reason, it looks like a floor tom, except it's much lighter, same kind of size, and you wear it shoulder strap. And then what happens with Latin music, getting stuck straight into it, is that we might have open hi-hats and closed hi-hats, but you also have open drums and closed drums. So what happens is when you get a floor tom and you use a mallet on it, so it's open, closed, open, closed, open, closed, open, closed. Can you see it there? Oop. I'll put it up here. There it is there. Put it up here so you can see it. See it? Open, closed, open, closed. So, open, closed, open, closed. Get it? Got it? Good. That translates to the feet. So what you have is that the Latin bass drum. Some people call it the samba bass drum. Old H used to always call it the Latin bass drum. And what it is, it's a derivative of the two field. So if you're playing quickly, you might have the two feel happening there. But if you can get it in, and you're starting to get your samba business together. And that's what happens there. Now, once you've got that kind of... There's your open. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And one of the big things is the sounds now. Okay, you've got that. That is obviously sounding very Latin-y. And when we're talking about Latin America, let me just go back. It's Mexico down. Hello, Teresa, if you're watching, my friend over there. And Mexico downwards into Latin America, all the wonderful countries, Brazil and Chile, Argentina, all these wonderful things, Mexico, all that. And what happens is you've got this kind of... and then when you put your hand quavers on the hi-hat, you get the open. I'll do it slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now what happens when you're starting out, if you can get that down, you then have the rim click. Some people call it a cross stick. And once again, I'm going to defer to Harold Ripper, my old teacher to many people out there in Melbourne drumming land. And he always said, never do that. It's meant to resemble a timbali stick. So you use the heel end of the stick, gives you a more rounder sound, and that kind of business there. If you have to go back to the toms, just use, you don't have to flick round if you're doing, traditional grip or anything like that. So when I'm playing things like that, I just stay on match grip, okay, unless it changes halfway through or whatever. Cha-cha-cha. There you go. So that's what you've got. You've got a rim click there, okay. Let me show you how to do the rim click. You hold the stick normally, but the other way round. You have the fulcrum, you have your fingers out, you lay your hand in the middle of the snare drum, pick up the stick with your thumb and first finger, lift it up, bring it down, and try and get a lively sound. You can change the tone. So you get that going. That kind of thing. And then once again, you got the open. And what I did before was a rumba. There you go. There you have it. So what happens then is that as you go through this, depending on where the rim click is, that's the rhythm you're going to make, you see. And then what happens then is that you sort of sit with the three main rhythms that are the backbone of all Latin music for anyone starting out. The first one is the calypso. And it's known by many names around the world, but the calypso is the Latin name. Comes from Trinidad and Tobago. And what you have is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 And when the snare drum doesn't have the snares on, it resembles a timbale, okay, and that's what happens here. Over here I have if I put the triggers back on, put it in with your feet. Oh, beautiful. And then what happens then is you have a second rhythm. Now the calypso, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Some of you are yelling at me through on your phone or wherever you're going. You said, what about the 3-2 club? I've got it. Hold your horses. Ooh, don't become a Latin beat nuts. Ooh. And so what happens is the Latin police. Okay, so what happens is... Hello, audience. So what happens is... learn all your different variations on how you can get out of calypso. But what I'm getting at is the 3-2 clave, and the first bar of the 3-2 clave. That's why I start with a calypso usually, is because the calypso is the first bar of the 3-2. You have 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. So 3, 2. To feel. Who's thinking Bo Diddley right now? Monkey's jaw, is it? Donkey's jaw. Monkey's jaw. Anyway, there you go. The calypso itself, I mean, when I'm doing it like that, that's more of an African sukos rhythm. You see, calypso, sukos, all this, it all derives from these wonderful rhythms. And then if you turn the 3-2 clave around, so it's a 2-3, deceptively tricky for some of my students to play because it doesn't start with a big accent on 1. It's 2 and 3, so you get that 1, 2, 3. Ahoy! There's your 3 main rhythms, you see, and that's what goes on. Now, when you're dealing with things like this, and now I'll summarize, well, I won't summarize, I'll go back to what I've already shown you. If I take the 3-2 clave and put it as a ring click, now I'm going to take the triggers out again. They might be in and out or not. And then I put in the aforementioned surdo rhythm, but as applied to a drum set with the hi-hat. You will have there's your 3-2 clave. Now, if you put in a bit of syncopation on the last beat, and you take that last beat, the second beat of the 2, so it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. If you take that last 3 and syncopate it, push it back 1. See, what happens is you get then what is known as a Bossa Nova, okay? Made famous by Antonio Carlos Jobim as Bossa Nova, meaning new rhythm or new trend in Portuguese. And what happens is that the wonderful Astrud Gilberto, with her beautiful laconic voice, basically there was a wave. Everybody was onto it. Blame it on a Bossa Nova, Elvis. You had the Beatles doing stuff in their middle period when it came out in the mid-60s, 64, 65. And then what happens is this. I'll show you. This is the Bossa Nova. Okay. And there you go, you're off. Now what happens is the 3-2 clave sounds a little closed. It's like you're closing the phrase. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But if you put in the Bossa Nova, that syncopated beat, it does not, and it gives it a beautiful groove. Now, there's the Bossa Nova there. Oh my Lord, there you go. How many times have we played a Bossa Nova, or you jazz dudes out there on the old Latin night and all that? The Bossa Nova. There you go. And so what happens is that the way that it came about was through dear Astrud Gilberto, right? And I'm going to say the name. Girl from Ipanema. Oi! Oh, I read today in my research that The Girl from Ipanema is the most recorded, played song after the Beatles yesterday. I don't believe that. I believe one of the things... Pardon me, I'm puffing. One of the things I said the other day, to Spike actually, I typed it to Spike. Spike Quinlan, how are you, mate? Was... It's the most overcooked song ever written. Oh my Lord, how many times do you hear it like this? Hi, Larry Lowndes with it. Oh, special guest. And it's like, you know, the typical wedding reception song, you know, set two when everyone's fanging into their schnitzels and you're there with the... How's everybody tonight? Hope you're doing all right. We'll be back right after the break, too. So let's get a beer. It's a bloody tough crowd tonight, George. Where jazz musicians go to die. The Jazz Musos graveyard. At least they're getting paid. Oi! So there you have it. And it's the Bossa Nova and it's the Girl from Ipanema, which I think is one of the most overcooked songs in the world. However, before I say that, before you throw things, your phone at me and all this sort of stuff, when you listen to the original, it's incredible. It's a beautiful, laconic song. There's not even drums on it, and there's a bit of a sordid story to it, with one Stan Getz, who I have to bring up as far as when we're talking about dear Astrud Gilberto. And I'm going to read about the lovely lady right now. There we go. Wonderful. Started a trend. And you can't get away with a Bossa Nova without mentioning her name. She started it. She just walked into the studio with her beautiful voice and just easy going and bang. And I mean, you know, I pulled out things I've pulled out. I've pulled out the real book enough times. But you know, there's got to be about a third of the songs in there as a bossa of some kind or a samba, and this is the legacy of this beautiful dear lady. Astrud Gilberto, 29th of March 1940, 5th of June 2023, just the other day, 4 days ago. I remember, again, I woke up and I go, oh, there's the show this week. Was a Brazilian samba and bossa nova singer and songwriter. She gained international attention in the mid-1960s following her recording of the song The Girl from Ipanema. Biography. Astrud Gilberto was born Astrud Evangelina Weinert, the daughter of a Brazilian mother and a German father in Salvador in the Brazilian state of Bahia on 29th of March 1940. She was raised in Rio de Janeiro. Her father was a language professor and she became fluent in several languages. She married João Gilberto in 1959-60 and they had a son, João Marcelo Gilberto, who would later join her band. João Gilberto had an affair with Brazilian singer Mika, which caused the couple to separate. Astrud and João divorced in the mid-1960s. She had another son from a second marriage, Gregory La Sorsa, who would also play with his mother. Later, she had a relationship with her husband's musical collaborator, American jazz saxophone player Stan Getz, while on a torturous tour with him. During the tour, Getz was abusive and underpaid the singer at the height of her fame until her lawyer, Alan Arrow, could get her discharged from the tour contract. She immigrated to the United States in 1963 and resided in the US from that time on. There you go. Yes, it was a bit of a sordid tale. I don't really need to go to my notes. I sort of knew it already. being a starving jazz musician on my own once, and relying on the aforementioned desperate and dateless wedding gigs to get paid. The girl from Ipanema loomed large. I played the bejesus out of that. Anyway, there you go, with the smirky face probably. Anyway, her whispery voice and steadfast approach to singing played a significant role in popularising The Girl from Ipanema, earning a Grammy Award for Record of the Year and a nomination for Best Vocal Performance by a Female. There you go, wonderful stuff. Now, what it was Stan Getz and I think the producer Creed Taylor was in the studio. Joe Gilberto was coming in, and it was supposed to be a Getz-Gilberto kind of thing, collaboration, which they got into. Dizzy Gillespie had already been getting into the Latin stuff with the Bossa Nova as well, and they were doing that. And Mr. Gilberto brought in Mrs. Gilberto, and the idea came up, why don't we get a lady to sing this? And there's Astrud sitting on the couch going, I can sing. And the rest was history. And Stan Getz is a bit of a colourful figure in the sense that, well, I've got Zoot Sims. Who knows Zoot Sims? Very famous jazz musician. Called, when having to describe him, he's a nice bunch of guys. Bob Brookmeyer, who was with him, one of the fellow musicians in the Woody Herman Big Band when he was getting started. And he got told that Stan Getz was having to have a heart operation. Bob Brookmeyer replies, what, did they put one in? So he wasn't the nicest guy in the world. He made a point of only getting the people to only pay Astrud Gilberto the standard recording rate of $120 in the day. Oh, it was a fortune then. Standard rate now, pretty much. Let's not go there. And so what it is Stan Getz pretty much cheated her out of a lot of stuff, and then with the Torturous tour, made a point of not paying her whenever he could. He was basically a tight ass, and he wasn't a very nice man at all. He's been busted for trying to sell drugs. He's been on the drugs. He's been doing this. He even tried to rob something to pay for his drug habit, and the judge said, you are not much of a man, or words to that effect. And you can't talk about Astrud Gilberto without the backstory of what she had to go through the height of her fame and her ongoing fame. And she essentially started the Bossa Nova craze with this beautiful laconic voice. And the iconic Girl from Ipanema, which I am taking a little bit of the Mickey out of, but go to the original. Go to the original and that, because I'm guilty of it. It's like, oh my God, I've got to play this again. And like I said, I'm not even sure yesterday was the first one. I think Girl from Ipanema should be the first one. It's the most played thing in the world. I mean, it's the wedding. It's the wedding gig standard while everyone's fanging through their schnitzels, right? So you get that. With that lovely little syncopation at the end, which makes it what it is. I'll put the triggers back in, and I'll just take it out there a little bit now, do different things. Now what happens is that when you're dealing with things like Blame It on the Bossa Nova and things like that, it's almost double time. So you start getting this... and you get that, like that. But then what you do is we go into a different kind of thing. When you double time it like that, you're into the land of samba. So you got ba ba da ba ba ba. So you got George of the Jungle first off. So you get that George. I Dream of Jeannie. Ba da ba 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 da ba ba da ba 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 da ba ba da ba 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 da ba ba. There you go. You see, you get all this sort of samba-y business. And it's essentially a double time thing. Now, what often happens with this is that if you're getting a bit busy with it all, take your Latin bass drum and just put it back to a 2 feel. So if you're doing it fairly quickly, so you get. But if you can put it in. Now I'm sharing that out, the accents. Like I'll slow that down now. So and then halve, it's fairly pushy rhythm, the old Latin bass drum. Why not halve it? Put it on the, instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, just put it on the N3. Take it off the N1. So you go. That's a berimbau. There you go. You know what I haven't done yet? Brazilian brushes. Now what starts to happen with the Brazilian thing? You've got your normal, if I'm going to play normal, I don't. I'll leave the triggers in. There's that. But if you're going to do kind of a Brazilian style, you've got a bit of a swoosh to it. Yeah. And when you're talking about Latin music overall, there's definitive sounds. I mean, of course, as well as that, you've got your bell of the cymbals or stuff like that. That's why I put the triggers in, to show you the different sort of sounds. Oh, come on. Ooh, got one not working. Okay, lower. Another one. Up. There's that one. There you go. All the typical conga business. Oop. There you go. And there's that. And what I'll do is I'll just splash hats. Take it in, put it in, take it out. Then you can mix it up by putting one brush down, picking one stick up, picking that there. Oh, I'll take that out. So you get this. Now when you've got the ring click like so, you've got your rim click there, and you've got this area for the brush, you see. So what was going on up here can now go down here. So you get things like that, you see. Oi! And then when you get, you can start getting other things going, you see. So guys like Clayton Cameron are masters of that. The Brushmeisters put it into rhythm. Up. Move the hats around. Now, before I love and leave you with all this, what goes on is that with that you can also get a few things happening with not just the Bossa Nova style and the Samba style. They're all one and the same. It's just really, you know, with the feet, you've got the anchor, all this. But don't ever forget you've got things like the Afro-Cuban 6/8. And with things like that, essentially the easiest way to get to it is play a double paradiddle. And as well as that, you've got the bass drum coming in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you build it up a bit, that's what you got, you see. And I shall put them in a little bit more. Oh, I'm using that too much now. And there you go, you've got that kind of one. Think of it like triplets if you want to, but it's in 6/8. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Ring click if you wish. There you go. I suppose I better wrap the show. I'm a lazy 10 minutes over. What have I done? I've done Dear Astrud Gilberto, Latin beats. Let me look at my notes. I've done the basic calypsos, 3/2 clave and the reverse clave, Bossa Nova and variations, the samba. In Africa, they would call it a semba. I think the semba preceded the samba. And the surdo. Distinctive sounds. I hope I've done a bit of that. You can make yourself sound Latin just by changing the sounds of what you've already got. And me using the triggers to sort of demonstrate that to a certain degree. There you go. Distinctive sounds, as I said, rim, click and bell, sticks, mallets, brushes. I've done all three there. I've talked about a certain Mr. Stan Getz and what Zoot Sims and Brooke might thought of him because of dear Astrud Gilberto, who is the queen of Bossa Nova, you'd have to say, and all that, who passed away this week. And there you go. So I'll love and leave you and all this sort of business there. And that's what we've got. We've got all these different things. So to dear Astrud, you know that. And a little shout out to dear Yoko Ono for helping me out there. There it is. How's those schnitzels come along? Back to the third set. And just so you know, I did buy her album and all that. There's something wonderful about what she does. Because but all the boys say, anyway, I'll let you go. I hope you enjoyed the show. It'll be up sometime tomorrow. Take care. Oi! My name's Chris Quinlan. Face Chook Life. Oh!